Hello and welcome to Live by Design, a program where I hope you will find content that is informative, inspiring, and insightful. I'm your host, Muadi. I'm a life strategist and a motivational speaker, and today is Tuesday, May 14th, 2013. I hope all is well in your world because it most definitely is well in my world, except for the fact that we are experiencing some technical difficulties. So the lighting is going to be a little bit off, I believe, in this episode. I'm hoping that we can fix it when we get to the editing process. But if not, that's fine. We're going to carry on. We said last week that we're laying down the gauntlet and that we are stepping away from mediocrity and we're stepping away from excuses. So regardless as to how the lighting turns up, I'm here and I've shown up and I'm going to continue to show up as promised. Oh, and for those of you who didn't see that video, I attached it to the bottom of this video just to remind us what we agreed to or what I agreed to when it comes to this whole thing about excuses. Now, today, we are going to continue our series of discussions that we've been having about the content of my latest CD, Center Your Mind, Center Your Life. And the meditative thought that we're going to be looking at today is, I will honor my body. So today we are talking about health and wellness with a focus on fitness and nutrition. When we talk about health and wellness, it's really I like to approach it from a holistic standpoint whereby we're talking about mind, body, and spirit. Today we're going to be talking mostly about body because the mantra for today, or the thought for the day is, I will honor my body. But I just want to be really clear that when I talk about health and wellness, I'm really talking about it from a holistic perspective. Now, this conversation is pretty fortuitous or timely. For those of you living in Boston, because there are two events that are coming up that are speaking to this very issue. The first one is a workshop that I'm hosting, a Woman's Worth Health and Wellness workshop on June 8th in Boston for 15 women. Some of the slots have already been taken, so if you're interested in that, I wouldn't wait too long. But we are going to be coming together, talk about health and wellness from the holistic perspective. We're going to do a fitness group workout together, if the weather permits. Linda Wells, the wellness warrior, is going to be our special guest, and she's going to be sharing with you how she was able to transform her relationship to food and to fitness and exercise, and do a little raw food demonstration for us. And we're going to be talking about the mind-body-spirit connection. So if you're in Boston on June 8th, I would love to see you there. Also, on Sunday, June 23rd, my sister, Shalomba, is organizing the first 5K walk to stomp out childhood obesity, also taking place in Boston. For details for that, actually, I'm going to put a link to her website and to that program at the bottom of this video. So if you're interested and you're around and you're available and you're interested about ways that we can start to really bring this trend to an end, join us on the 8th and join us on the 23rd. Now, let's get into this whole thing about health and wellness. Now, in my recent video, the one that I talked about excuses, no more excuses, the one that's at the bottom of this video, I quoted something that I saw somebody posted on Facebook, and it said, the quote was, I would rather be slapped by the truth than kissed by a lie. When it comes to health and fitness and weight and conversations about what it means to be healthy, I sometimes hesitate to have this conversation because it's a very sensitive topic. But at the same time, I think it's really important to raise awareness about how we are treating our bodies in this country in particular, and some things that we can do to bring about a change. I don't offer this from any place of judgment because I am a work in progress. I've always had a very healthy relationship with exercise. I love to exercise. I love to work out and dance and do martial arts. It's something that we grew up with when I was younger. My dad used to have us in the summertime run around the block off Humboldt Ave, 5:30 in the morning in the summers, in the 80s. And so if you're from my neighborhood, you can at least imagine what that was like back in the day. So exercise has never been a problem for me. Food, on the other hand, we've been struggling for years. I've always had a sweet tooth. I've always had a taste for this junk food and fat and salt and my beloved cheese. And so over the course of the years, as I've tried to sort of course correct and try to improve my relationship with food, I have struggled. And I continue to struggle. Now, I'm a vegetarian and I'm much more conscious about what I eat. And I do have a healthier relationship with food. But, like with all good relationships, we have our struggles from time to time. And I slip. As a matter of fact, was it 2 months ago? I had some Apple Jacks with soy milk. But I had some Apple Jacks. Not a big bowl full. I just bought one of those little dollar containers that they sell at Giant supermarket. I couldn't help myself. I felt like it was calling me. And, I didn't beat myself up about it and, throw my hands up and just, call myself all these names. But, I knew I shouldn't have had it, but I did. It was an impulse and I just did it. And so I'm admitting that to you today for 2 reasons. Number one, I don't want anybody finding any surveillance video of me at Giant picking up some Apple Jacks and seeing that in my cart. And I'm up here talking about health and wellness. But more importantly, it's just to share with you that we're all works in progress. Everything that I share with you on this program is something that I am struggling with, learning from, growing through myself. And so we are in this together. And so when it comes to the health and wellness, when it comes to the fitness piece, I want to work with you. I want to partner with you because I know that there are people out there who need the support as I need to support myself. And we're not alone. If you're like me, you struggle, you're not alone because according to a recent study by the CDC, the United States is the most obese nation in the world. They did a study where they did some measurements between the years 2009 and 2010 that said more than 1/3 of American adults and almost 17% of American youth were obese. And in that same time period, 16.9% of U.S. children were obese. And when we hear this word obese, we have to also remember that it's not just about the weight, and it's not just about the stress that it puts on your physical body, but that there are chronic illnesses, there are chronic diseases that are very closely tied to, exacerbated by, started by being overweight. Hypertension, diabetes, risk of stroke, and the list goes on and on and on. So this is a serious problem in this country, and we need to start to think about if we are going to be the best of who we were sent here to be, how can we make sure that our body tempo is intact and that our body tempo represents our consciousness and our awareness of how divine we really are. When we really understand who we are and whose we are and what we were sent here to do, then we must take our health, our wellness, and our fitness seriously. And the causal factors that go into obesity, they're very complex. I mean, sometimes we'll hear people say, one of the biggest problems is we eat a lot of crap and we don't move enough. That's a given. We eat, the American diet is piss poor. But it's more than that. There's more than just, knowing what to do, because a lot of us do know what to do. But there are other factors that sort of get involved in this. According, again, to the CDC, some of the other causal factors that contribute to obesity in this country are economics. The lower you are in your economics, the lower income families tend to have higher obesity rates. The same thing tends to go to education rates. There's the same correlation between your level of education and your awareness and how informed you are about nutrition, etc., and obesity. Other race is a causal factor in this country. The browner you are, the bigger you are. And I know that, in our culture, in the African American culture, sometimes there's this idea that, thick is beautiful and we want to celebrate that, of course. But we have to do that within reason and recognize that after a certain point that it becomes a health problem. And there's nothing cute about not being healthy. And I'm not here trying to say everybody needs to be skinny. That's not my intention. And there are a lot of skinny people who are not fit because they don't also, eat the right foods and they don't exercise. But I am saying that there's a healthy weight range for all of us, myself included, that we should be striving to achieve. And there are other things that are really, that I found out doing a little bit of research that are interesting about this whole food thing. Some foods are naturally addictive. We know that about white sugar, at least most of us know that. If you don't, you know that now. But also milk. Now, back when I was like in the 80s, my good friend Rita said to me that she thought it was odd. I think her grandfather told her or pointed out to her that humans are the only species that drink the milk product of other animals. So that kind of freaked me out. I'm a vegetarian now, so it doesn't really bother me so much. People drink milk, don't drink milk, whatever. But what I didn't know up until recently was that even in milk, there are small, in cow's milk, there are small traces of morphine, which is produced to help the mother bond with the baby and encourage the baby cows to come and drink their mother's milk. Small traces, nonetheless, but it's in there. It's also in human milk as well. But to make that connection, so so if you drink it and consume it over time, it becomes addictive. My beloved cheese. So there are, and again, it's a trace tiny amounts of morphine, but it's in there nonetheless, and it does contribute to our addiction. We also talk about the economics of it. Oftentimes you'll hear people say that it's more expensive to be healthy than it is to eat the junk of the crap. To a certain extent that may be true, but sometimes I think we take that too far and we go into excuses. You want to know why? Because I did a little research study, my own little test. I used to love Snicker bars. I don't eat them anymore because I just don't, but the Snicker bars. You could go into CVS, right, and buy Snickers for $1.84, or you can buy a cucumber about the same size for 99 cents at the giant supermarket. Let's do a little comparison, shall we? In a cucumber, calories 45. In a Snickers, 296. Grams of sugar in a cucumber, 5 grams of sugar. Natural sugar, mind you. Mother Nature's sugar, which is the equivalent of 1 teaspoon. In a Snickers, there are 26 grams of sugar. That's 5 teaspoons. Grams of fat in a cucumber. 0. Grams of fat to be found in a Snickers, 16.4. And again, the cost of a cucumber, 99 cents. The average cost of a Snicker bar, $1.84. So I say that to say, and don't tell you, kids won't eat cucumbers. My niece, Deji, who loves food, will get down on a cucumber. That's one of her favorite snacks. So some of the causal factors that we hear about that are tied to obesity are societal, and they are challenging. It is harder sometimes to have access to the healthy foods and have access to nutrition and to have access to information about how we can improve our bodies. But then some of that also we slide into excuse, because there are healthier foods that are cheap. If you want beverages, for example, water is free. And don't tell me about, you have to bottle your water. My mother has been boiling her water since she first came to this country in 1966. Every day, she puts on a big old pot of water on the stove, boils it to get all the, her bacteria, and then she puts it in the refrigerator. So we can nod our head in acknowledgement to some of the factors that keep us sort of from being on the right track when it comes to food. But at the same time, we also have to bow our heads in acknowledgement to some of the excuses that we use to keep us stuck in a space of unhealthy eating and unhealthy behavior. Okay, so we laid out the facts. I said we're going to inform, inspire, and hopefully, find some information here that you find to be insightful. That's your information. This country is struggling with an obesity problem. I, like many of you, I am sometimes challenged to make good food, healthy choices when it comes to my food. And I consider myself to be a pretty conscious person, but at the same time, this is a lifelong struggle for me. And we also have to recognize that when it comes to food and eating, it's not just about discipline and willpower. It's also about, there's a psychological piece to it and there's a spiritual piece to it. Because if you are walking from a space where you might be damaged, or you're holding some emotional baggage, or you're have some emotional wounds that have yet to be healed, that can and often does contribute to obesity in this country. Because some of us, not me, this particularly is not my thing, maybe I'm just greedy, I don't know. But there are people who use food to medicate themselves as well. And it's a pretty serious thing. So I don't want to oversimplify. My intention here is not to oversimplify the problem, nor is my intention to point fingers and make people feel badly about themselves. I want to generate a conversation about health and wellness and fitness so that we can all get to the point where we're really, really honoring ourselves, honoring our bodies, and taking proper steps to move us in the direction of better health and vitality. Okay, so let's take a little break. We're going to come back and we're going to talk a little bit more about this whole idea of honoring our bodies. Okay, we'll be right back. by Design with Muadi. We're talking today about health and wellness, and the mantra, the thought for the day being, I will honor my body. Now, before the break, we talked briefly, I shared with you some of the statistics around obesity and fitness and nutrition in this country. That's just the tip of the iceberg, what I provided you with. There's a huge amount of information that's out there that's available to you, and I really encourage you to, if this is interesting to you and it's something that you want to learn more about, I encourage you to go online, go to the library. People still go to the libraries and learn more about fitness, learn more about health, learn more about the statistics behind why this country is now the most obese nation in the world. Learn for yourself. Information is powerful. Information is power, and so you can really empower yourself to bring about a change in your health and your fitness and your wellness if you go out and inform yourself. But we did, again, we talked about the economic factors that contribute to obesity. We talked about the education factors. We talked about race being a factor as well. And it's all tied together. It's a pretty complex relationship. So go out and do the research. But also something we didn't talk about, habit is a reason why some of us have a challenge eating properly, because if you grew up in a family where you ate certain foods that may not be the most healthy for you, or healthy foods that weren't always prepared in the most healthy way, could be challenging for you to develop a new habit. If you grew up in a family where you weren't encouraged to exercise, or maybe outdoor exercise was not possible for you, it could be a challenge for you, but a challenge you should welcome to start to bring exercise and invite exercise into your life. So how do we turn things around? Now, at the base of this whole formula of how to correct your health or fix your health and your fitness are two very basic, easy remedies. One is to stop eating a whole bunch of crap, and two is to start moving your body. It really is that simple in theory. The practice of it becomes a lot more difficult because it's just more complex than that. Because there's so many other factors that, the causal factors that we discussed, and so many more that we have not discussed, that can sometimes block people or create challenges for people to really move things forward and move their bodies and improve their health the way they want to. So what we're going to do is we're going to revisit our 3-point strategy that we've talked about on this show before, but we're going to talk about it now within the context of and the framework of health and fitness. The 3-point strategy that I often offer to people, that I follow myself when trying to bring about a change in your life the strategy is: 1, the first piece, get your mind right. Second piece is what? Get your game tight. And the third part of our 3-point strategy is to watch your crew. The first piece, get your mind right. You have to set an intention. You have to set an intention of what exactly it is that you're trying to do. And you have to get rooted in the why it is that you want to do what it is that you say you're going to do. It's not just enough to say, oh, I'm going to, just start this diet, or I'm going to, just start running tomorrow. If you don't set a clear intention and have a clear vision of what it is that you are trying to accomplish, and really get rooted in the why is this important to me? Why is this important to my life? Then your chances for success are not going to be as high as they could be otherwise. The difference between being committed to something and wanting something. This is what Michael Beckwith has taught, and I love this idea, or this thought, which is that the difference being that when you want something, it's going to be fun. It might be nice. It might be nice to have a certain thing. When you're committed to something, you understand that it's critical to your survival. For me, when I set my intention to work out, it's because I know that I want to feel good. I want to, for as long as I'm living, and I don't know how long I'm going to live, but I do know that for those years, I want to maximize the chances that I'll be able to enjoy them and be physically, emotionally, and spiritually present for those years. I want to be able to hang with my nephews and nieces who are at that stage where they're constantly running around, and I want to set an example for them of what the 40s can look like, of what the 50s can look like, if, God willing, the 60s can look like if we take care of ourselves. That's my intention. So when I'm rooted in my intention and I'm clear about my why, it really motivates me, keeps me on track. Also, get your mind right. Stop telling yourself it's going to be hard. Stop telling yourself I can't do it. Stop looking at all the reasons and maybe all the times that you were not successful in meeting your goal. If you shift your mindset, if you shift the way you look at the whole idea of working out and adopting a healthy lifestyle, it can really help you move along and achieve your goals. Dr. Wayne Dyer says that when we change the way we look at things, the things that we look at change. So if you can shift the paradigm from which you are looking at the whole health and wellness area of your life into something positive, make it a challenge, a positive challenge, make it into an adventure, something that you can get excited about. It could help you move things along. It can help you have some success that may have eluded you in the past. And it may sound very simplistic on the surface, but I'm proof positive that it works. Not just in your health and wellness, in a whole lot of other areas that we have talked about and we'll talk about another time. But shift your paradigm. Stop telling yourself it's going to be hard. Tell yourself it's going to be easy. And every time you fall off the wagon, accept that, embrace it, celebrate it, and keep it moving. But shift your consciousness about this. Shift your perspective. So we said, get your mind right. It means reframe how you look at the process. Set an intention and get rooted in the why this is important for you. Reframe how you look at this whole process, right? And also stay present. Don't worry if you have to lose 10 pounds, 15 pounds, 20 pounds, even 100 pounds. Don't look so far down into the future that you get distracted and discouraged, right? Stay in the moment. When I was in Ghana last summer, I think I shared this with you, I had a wonderful conversation with a bishop who was building a church. And when I asked him, how long do you think this is going to take you? Because he was pretty much at the beginnings of it and was not really having a whole lot of success with his fundraising. He said to me, if you look too far down the road at a goal, you could get discouraged and it might stop you. I'm going to build this church one brick at a time, $1 at a time. It's the same thing about transforming your body and transforming your health and transforming your wellness. Do it one step at a time, one day at a time, one moment at a time. If you're standing at a mountain that you're about to climb, if you look all the way towards the top, some people might get encouraged by that, but some people might get distracted or intimidated by just how high they have to go. But if you can stay eye level and just go step, step, right? One step at a time, it makes the whole journey seem a lot more manageable. And you tend to get less discouraged, right? The second point, get your game tight. You have to have a plan. And in these days, this day and age where things are so busy and we're so distracted, I think you should have a written plan of what exactly it is I want to achieve and how I'm going to go about achieving it. Set a plan. Now, I put out a video, the excuse video actually that's at the bottom of this video where I said that now health and wellness, I'm moving to make that the centerpiece of my life. But until you get to that place where it becomes sort of a natural habit for you as you're building these new habits, make a plan. How many days a week am I going to exercise? How many clean meals am I going to have? If you know that you have to go to a party, if you know that you have to go to a meeting or you're going out to a social event where there's going to be food, how are you going to navigate that? Do you need to eat beforehand? Do you need to eat after? Do you need to bring your own food? Plan ahead. Make some very specific goals. You hear this all the time, but we don't always do it. Come on, write it down. Visualize what it is that you want to achieve and make a committed plan to it. Because then when you fall off the wagon, I didn't say if, when you fall off the wagon, because we all do, you'll have something to fall back on. You'll have a plan. You'll have a framework. You'll have a structure. If you don't have a plan, when you fall off the wagon, you sort of have to start all over again because you're sort of lost out there in space, sleepwalking, trying to, sort of figure it out as you go. But if you have a plan, let's say I want to run 5 days this week, and it's almost the end of the week, and I realize, I've only run 3 days. I see that I need to catch up, so maybe I run back to back, or maybe I try to fix it, improve it on the next week. But if you don't have some idea of where it is that you're trying to go, if you don't have some idea of how it is that you're going to accomplish these goals, then when you fall off track, you have nothing to fall back into. You have nothing to fall back on. And so what happens is you have to start all over, and then you lose an opportunity to build some momentum. So the second part, you have to have some type of plan. So get your game tight. And the third part is you got to watch that crew. You have to watch your crew. These days, social events tend to center around eating and drinking. So they're either taking place in a bar or in a restaurant or a restaurant/bar. If you know that you are trying to do something different, maybe you need to find a new group of friends or supplement your current crop of friends with people who share this goal. Go online, go on Facebook, join a support group, join a softball team, join a kickball team. Find a group of people who are also committed to this new way of living, this new healthy lifestyle that you're trying to develop, and roll with them. And if there are people in your life who are naysayers and poo-pooers, don't share your goals with them. They don't need to know. They can't hold you up. Even if they're not down to do the same things that you're trying to do, they should be down to support you. If they're not willing to do that, don't share your goals with them. You don't have to kick them to the curb. But you need to find a group of people who are going to support you. So if you're trying to eat healthily and you and your girls tend to, hit the Taco Bell or the, Burger King or whatever on a weekly basis, share with her, I'm not going to do that anymore. Or if you have enough willpower, I'm going to go there, but I'm going to order a salad. And if you're sitting down eating like a clean meal, a nice salad or something healthy while people around you are scarfing down, the junk food, etc., if you mind your business and they mind your business, cool. But if you're sitting down and trying to eat a healthy meal and people are trying to dog you out and tempt you to eat other things when you have not yet built up that resolve, right, to stick to what you're planning, to stick to your plan, then you need to think about getting a new crew of folks, okay? Get your mind right. Get your game tight, watch your crew, create a plan, get a strategy, find a support group of people who are going to walk this walk with you. We owe it to ourselves and the people that we love to be the best of who we were sent here to be, and that includes our physical body. You don't know how long you're going to be here, but while you are here, why not challenge yourself to maximize your health? Why not challenge yourself to maximize this temple that houses the spirit, the divine, beautiful creature that you are? There are very few things that you can really control in this world, but you can control what you put in your mouth, and you can control how much you move your body, if you make the choice to do so. And if you need support, get support. If you need help, get help. If you fall up and down that wagon 450,000 times, it doesn't matter as long as you get up and keep getting up and keep moving in that direction, okay? Again, we have a health and wellness workshop coming up in June, on June 8th. We're going to go into this much deeper. There's a Shape Up with Shaumba walk that's happening again in June for those of you who are looking to get up and get your bodies moving. If you're not in Boston, find a walking group, find a walking club. Find partners, find someone else who shares your desire to really invite more health, more vitality into your life and to shift your lifestyle. Your lifestyle, rather. It absolutely can be done. You absolutely, without question, have the wherewithal and the power to change this aspect of your life. But you have to want it. You have to get rooted in the why. You have to set an intention. You have to come up with a plan. And you have to surround yourself with other people who are going to support. And if I can be of any help to you, please find me on Facebook. You can visit me online at muadidibingaunlimited.com. And you can find me on Twitter. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a fantastic week, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye.